Hi everyone, it's Amy from Indigo Junction, and today we're going to talk about upcycling and recycling men's neckties. We're going to go through a few of the basics and about deconstruction, then I'm going to give you a little trunk show of some different samples that we've made up with our Indigo Junction sewing patterns and take you into the details on construction and design and help you, be inspired to create some of these projects. So to start out with, men's ties, you can find them at the thrift shops. You can find them in a closet of a family member, and sometimes they're a wonderful way to preserve fabric and memories in cloth. And that's the one really special thing about working with these fabrics that you potentially have that may be family members. So whether you're looking for, I've pulled a few samples. You can see the beautiful print pastel in this tie. You'll find beautiful silks to work with in ties. And this is another example of a smaller geometric print. And I have this one deconstructed about halfway. So what we do is we simply unstitch the center seam, and there's an inner lining that you'll find almost every tie that I've ever deconstructed has this material that you will want to remove, and then you'll see what nice large pieces of fabric that you have available to work with into your designs and patterns. And later I'll talk about how sometimes you'll find ties that have, you can do the front and the back contrast each other, so they work really well to complement each other in a design that you're working on. So to start out with, what patterns I thought we'd go from small to the larger patterns that we have. So starting out, I'm gonna be telling you about turn a tie flower. And that's what I'm wearing here. You can see this is kind of a little bit more of a vintage retro tie that we created. We actually, you'll see later, made the other half of the tie into a pouch. So you don't use the full tie when you're making this flower. You're using about half of it. And I wanted to give you an example of, depending on how big your tie is, you may end up with a larger flower. So here's an example of a tie that made up into a much more substantial accessory. And again, these can be used on lapels. You could put them on a purse. They're great gifts for people. This is another example of a larger version of a tie made up. And then you'll see here, this is a interesting kind of modern print, maybe that we found in the tie, next to the simplicity of just a solid tie with a small little fleck in it that you can, gives it a little more dimension. So keep in mind, depending on what, your tie fabric looks like and the way the pattern is constructed will give you different looks. In fact, this one was a tie that had both solid and print, and you can see how that finished and made up. So that's our turn of tie flower pattern. And I'll show you quick what the pattern cover looks like, so you just have awareness of that. And then I'm going to move on and talk about the pouch. This is the other half of the pin that I'm wearing, and we made it into the pouch. And that gives you an idea of what the tie actually looked like. You can see there that end of the tie was used. And then what I love about this particular sample is we actually kept the tag label from the tie and incorporated that into the pouch. But this little pouch is perfect for credit cards, train ticket, change potentially, even a small phone, depending on how big your tie is. We make it with the snaps that you just saw there, but we also have a version in the pattern that you can make it with a grommet. So with the grommet is combined with the elastic, and the elastic then unhinges, and you can see, again, 2 little pockets. And you can this gives you an idea of how the pattern is made from folding and sewing the tie. This, you can see, the tie was not deconstructed in this version. So there is another example. Here we have, once again, the other half of this flower made into the pouch. And here we used a traditional snap as our closure. A couple more to share just so you see what, different types of ties look like made up. This is a larger tie, so you can see how it was a little bit bigger when it was finished. And oh, look, there you go. It's Ralph Lauren polo. And another idea, store your business cards in these. This is it's always fun to have a unique carrier for your business cards. And again, just a magnetic snap there. And last is another grommet with these wonderful metallic grommets. So these are grommets that we have featured here, I believe are from Threadz. You can find them at most fabric and quilt shops. And moving on, let's talk a little bit about ornaments. And we have several ornaments here on the table. You'll see right over here the star, which is from our actual Fabriflare line of patterns. So I'll share what that looks like. So this pattern offers several sizes, actually 3 sizes included in the pattern. And the one you're seeing here is the ornament size. And you can see the beauty of this pattern is, again, we've preserved ties, and we are using 5 different ties that coordinate with each other. And part of the fun is the thrill of the hunt for just the right ties to coordinate for your projects. And I wanted to share with you, remember I was talking about how maybe the front and the back side of the tie might coordinate? This is the example I'm going to share with you. So this fabric you see here at the top, the point at the top, this is what the tie looked like. And when we opened it up, like I showed you earlier, but note that the back side of the tie, how it has a coordinating print. So again, if maybe you were making this ornament, which is our Trilliant ornament, this is one of the kits that's actually a Fabriflare kit where the templates are pre-cut in the package for you. You could do the top half maybe in the front side of the tie and the bottom half maybe in the other side of the tie, and you'll get a nice contrast there. So as far as ornaments goes, there's one other option for making an ornament, and that is using our stabilizer. The stabilizer comes with a pattern for this ornament, which we call the jewel. When you buy the package of stabilizer, that is what you use to construct this star, you will have a free pattern in it, and that is what you're going to be making. You can always add the beads, add a bell on the bottom. Lots of fun creativity you can have. So moving on, let's talk about purses. And we have several purse options, and bring out the tie to go purse. We're gonna I'll start with this one just because you went to the effort to get it for me, Wayne, thank you. This is a really unique tie. Chartreuse, lavender, gray. And in this version, you can see where we use the bottom of the tie as the flap. And this purse has an elastic closure. You can add your own cord, make your cord, or find a pretty, whether it be satin or maybe a matte finish, depending on the shininess always seems to work well with the ties. This is another version, same pattern, and geometric. And again, another fun part of the process is finding a fun button to go with it. And sometimes we even stack buttons on this. So this, and note this shape, because there are options with this pattern. You can either leave the corner as is flat, or you can essentially square and do a box square off at the bottom of the corner. And again, here's a fun button that we added, and just a circular pattern on that tie. So I'm going to show you the cover of the tie pattern, so you're aware of that, and that is what the cover of the Tie to Go purse looks like. All right, so on to the thrifted fashion bag. And the thrifted fashion bag I have right back here. You can see it here in the blues and the reds. And what I loved about what we did here was we even took and added the strap and used the tie, part of a tie for the strap. And again, you can see every panel is a different tie, but then we coordinated the straps with one of the sections of the tie that was left. So that is the thrifted fashion bag, and I have a couple more samples of that to share with you. This is another version in the browns, and flip it to the other side. So it looks like we used 4 ties on one side and 3 ties on the other side. So you do have options when you're laying out fabric to sew together for this pattern piece. You can use and configure them in a way that works for the size of your ties and what coordinating ties you have. Quickly, because we love upcycling, I'm going to share with you also a different version that comes in this pattern. So in the thrifted fashion bag, I'm going to pull it out right here so you see the cover. You can see the tie purse at the top, and then over here on this photo inset, what we're showcasing is actually this bag, which is giving you a version to make with, you guessed it, men's trousers. So this is the pant, taken out of a pair of pants, and you can see we used it's just beautiful fabric. You're going to find beautiful fabric in menswear, whether it's ties or suiting, just gorgeous things on the rack at the thrift shop for you to explore and then create with. So I hope I've inspired you today to maybe run over to the thrift shop and see what you find, or scavenge around somebody's closet in your family. I do want to show you one more book that we have that does have some recycling in it with ties, and that's our Fabric Flowers book. And this book has several different versions, just a little different from the earlier turn-a-tie flower that I showed you. Projects that you can also use some tools that Clover has made for flower making. So keep those in mind and keep in touch. Subscribe to our channel. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And if you want to stay up to date on all our new patterns, including those for upcycling and recycling, be sure to visit indigojunction.com and sign up for our newsletter. Thanks for watching.